to show respect to the audience and respect your own business. It was a way to protect it.
And I'm Kayfabe Avenue, and I'm Kayfabe Focus.
And I'm E.A.
It's Kayfabe Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks, I'm Kayfabe AJ.
I'm Kayfabe Focus.
And this is Kayfabe Avenue, and tonight we're bringing you the AEW Revolution review. So you've definitely had a lot of time to process this.
This hot garbage that we call.
Yeah, we're not even gonna prolong this. Like, it was hot trash, and for the people that want to
just make it like 15 minutes, like dark.
Right. I want to say this opening statement on this. For the people that are defending it and saying that it was only about the finish and people only complaining about the finish, I think it's about time to break that logic down and reveal why this pay-per-view was really lackluster. So let's start off with the pre-show, which was Britt Baker and Maki Ito versus Thunder Rosa and Rio, which admittedly wasn't a bad match at all. Of course, Maki Ito was this surprise entrant, replacing, what's her name, Reba?
Reba. Yeah.
Reba. So, she ended up taking her place. This is one of the people that were in the women's championship eliminator tournament. So,
so basically what happened is that they show like a video segment where they show somebody allegedly jump Rebel, not Reba, backstage, and she was telling an injury.
Sorry, Rebel.
Yeah. So, it was like, oh, Reba can't do the match. So they got Maki Ito from Tokyo Joshi Pro to step in and fill in the replacement.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a big surprise as they thought it was gonna be, as far as the way they presented it. I feel like they thought it was gonna be a really big impact, that this was the partner, I guess. I mean, the way the Joshis are booked, it's like, how can anyone really get behind any of these Joshis? Now, Rio later on with Cheetah, understandable. But the rest of these Joshis just randomly thrown in because they had a random appearance in the tournament. Come on, we have, outside of that, we have nothing to go on as far as, attachment to these women. So,
well,
they thought this was a big. I would have been
the people who cheered Maki Ito already know her from her matches and everything, because this hasn't been just like, oh, she just appeared out of nowhere. She's been appearing all over the Joshi circuit for over the past 2-3 years. It wasn't like,
I'm not speaking from,
got trained on the Nightmare Factory.
I'm not speaking,
and it's like, it's the same type of people that would watch Stardom and stuff like that would know.
I get what you're saying, but I'm not coming from that perspective. I'm coming from a viewer that is only watching AEW. I'm judging it based on what AEW is telling me, based on what AEW showcased to me. So whether I know their history in Stardom or whatever it is, New Japan, wherever that these wrestlers, not just the Joshis, come from, I'm just talking about the way, it's presented on TV. So
they also presented it more on the tournament as well. So which is why I'm referencing all this stuff.
You only have, for the most part, you only have the tournament to base yourself on. So I'm saying, if they thought that it was gonna be a big pop because this was the person that took that what's the name, Rebel's place, I don't think it was that big payoff like it was supposed to be. With that being said, it wasn't a good match though.
Yeah, it was a great match. Maki Ito showcased some of her unique charisma and personality, and you showcased why that she's a great showman, and also showed her some of her technical ability and some of her gimmick. So I thought it was great for her. Britt Baker, showing off her wits and everything, so they could get the win. And Thunder Rosa and Riho, I thought they were gonna win, but apparently, Tony Khan did the O switcheroo, and Britt Baker and Maki Ito won.
Yeah, I mean, it was just filling space and giving these ladies something to do. I don't think there's any real big storyline impact coming out of this. I feel like this would have been better off being Britt Baker
I mean,
versus
I
Thunder
feel like
Rosa.
it's just gonna, yeah, it's just a filler match for the Thunder Rosa
That's what I'm saying. This was just
Britt
a match
Baker.
to fill this
Just
time with the
filler.
ladies. It should have just straight up been Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. There was no reason to prolong that.
But
They
I,
going at each other for a while.
and I think they're also trying to start something with Riho and Maki, starting a feud or something.
Yeah. Well,
So
we'll
see
see.
where
We'll
that
see
heads
where
up.
that. Yeah, we'll see where that's going. Let's move on. Um, to the actual Revolution card. Um, a sign of bad things to come. Jim Ross his voice was almost completely gone. The
Yeah,
majority of the show,
he
all
was
through the
getting
pre-show.
laryngitis or something.
Yeah, so it was shaky commentary to start the pre-show, to start off the show. He did rebound throughout the night, but it was very noticeable. But the first opener, which was surprising because I think you picked this to be the main event. Chris
Yeah,
Jericho and MJF versus the Young Bucks. So this is my thing. Was the match good? Yeah, it was a good match. Was this a great match? No. And that's the problem. It's a championship match. You have Jericho and you have the Young Bucks. MJF, the up and comer, regardless of his position, whether you like him or not. This should have been a classic. But the storyline leading into this was garbage. It was convoluted. They didn't really give a fuck about this matchup until the last 3 weeks. Everything was all elite impact wrestling garbage, good brother garbage, and inner circle turmoil garbage. So how can, and as a viewer, regardless if this match was decent or not, how can as a viewer I be invested? And this is what you open with. This is what you open with. So you already got me with a feud that I've already been saying. I just want this to get over with. I want the next step of this. It should have been Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers, or Young Bucks versus the actual number one contenders based on your ranking systems. But
SCU.
that's a story for another day. We spoke about that on last week's Dynamite recap. But it's just more of this, and then it's Jericho MJF loses. Okay,
Horrible.
I expected that. I personally expected that. I know you said the Bucks should have lost, right?
Yep. They should have lost undoubtedly. Like, there's no reason for them to have the tag team titles right now.
Unless they're about to actually stop this bullshit that they got going on with the Bullet Club, the fake version of Bullet Club they got going on with the Good Brothers. Is they gonna stop the bullshit and do like a title for title? It doesn't make sense that this pairing even happened on the quarterly event. This was the Dynamite match. Like, this was a Dynamite match. Nothing special from the Bucks, nothing special from MJF and Jericho. Typical matchup.
Yeah, they just basically recycled all the spots that they did in prior matches and just shoved it up for people.
Yep. This was nothing special. I give this match maybe a 6. What do
I
you
give it
give
a
it?
5.
A 5. All
It's
right,
average.
let's move on. We have the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal. Now,
Um,
there's way too much going on in this match to break it down segment by segment. But let me see if I can at least get the order
I
entry.
think a couple of noteworthy tag teams that were there were, obviously Pac and Phoenix.
So I actually have them. It was the Natural Nightmares to start, Dustin Rose and QT Marshall, and then we
Which
had
QT eliminated himself.
Dark Order number 5 and 10. Then we had Proud and Powerful. Then we had the Seidel brothers. We had the other Dark Order members in Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. We had the Gun Club, Colton and Austin Gunn. We had Pretty Peter Avalon and Caesar Bononi. We had the Varsity Blondes, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman. We at that point, after they came out, that's when QT eliminated himself, spit at Dustin. That was pretty much something that was overlooked. I didn't see many people talking about the fact that QT did that. So it looks like a full heel turn.
Yeah.
The real side of QT that we see on Sammy's vlog is finally on main programming. Who else was in there? We had Bear Country, Bear Bronson, and Bear Boulder. We had Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
For some reason.
Were they no? We had Butcher and the Blade. We had TH2, Jack Evans and Angelico. We had Private Party, Isaiah and Mark Quinn. We had SCU. We had another Dark Order, Silva and Reynolds. Pac and Phoenix. And I believe that was the last team in, with Ray Phoenix and Pac going over everyone. So the actual match, it was trash.
I was right.
It was, a lot of people were just standing around doing nothing.
It was basically just a Royal Rumble with tag teams.
But this didn't have any of the excitement of a Royal Rumble. And
yeah,
I
there
just
wasn't
saw a Royal Rumble pay-per-view a month and a half ago with 2-hour-long Rumbles, and this wasn't even a quarter exciting of that kind of Royal Rumble. A lot of the guys were just standing around lost, doing a lot of nothing. Obviously the jobber teams were out of there quick. I didn't really even see too many people shine like that.
Neither did I.
Then this is my problem with this match. Pac and Ray Phoenix win.
They're not even a real tag team.
They're not the real tag team of the Death Triangle. Ray Phoenix and Pentagon are. So what was the point of that? Not only that, you have 2 storylines running through here. You have Proud and Powerful, who've been having turmoil for the past 2 months with the Inner Circle, get overlooked again in this match. Then you get SCU, who the last I checked, the next time they were gonna lose a match, they were no longer a tag team. So I don't care if they explain it only singles. That's a technicality. That team should have broke up last night.
They lost this match.
They lost. But that didn't happen because they were on Dark this week on Tuesday. So what was the point? The match was a 5. What do you give it?
I don't know. It was all right. I guess it is a 5, but
I can't agree with the decision making behind this match.
there wasn't anything like over the top.
No spots.
It was just like let's just see how many people get away with putting them in the ring.
That's exactly what it was. Let's put every tag team that's been showcased on Dark and Dynamite. Let's put them in this Royal Rumble style tag team match. And it wasn't like, let's make them all special. If you made them special, if you gave everyone at least a couple seconds of shine, you know, if you're gonna do Royal Rumble like things, then do Royal Rumble like things. Have the person or the tag team that comes in gets instantly eliminated. Get the dominant tag team. Get the tag team that's trying to just get by. You know, make a story of it. And that's the problem with this pay-per-view. Almost every match, the story going in was trash, or the story that was being told in the match was non-existent. It was just do this, do that, move here, move there, it's over. Nothing special.
Let's make sure, and then they're like, let's make sure that we're not on camera so they don't see us slack off.
Pretty much. So yeah, I give that a 5. The AEW Women's Championship is next, and Ryu Mizunami versus Hikaru Shida. And this was the saving match of the pay-per-view to me. To me, this was the best one because although my personal feelings aside of the way the Joshis have been handled, and the fact that I felt Ryu shouldn't have been the person chosen for the spot, I felt this should have been the winner of the tournament should have won this match. Hikaru Shida won this match, retained the title again. I felt, what was the point of Ryu going through the tournament, beating all these women just to lose the big one? And it doesn't, I mean, not that I would have been happy she won, but it just made sense storyline wise. I would have been happy she won because we have a Joshi champion now who, for better or worse, is a good champion, but doesn't translate as well as somebody like a Britt Baker or Serena or Thunder Rosa can.
No, she can't. She has that language barrier and cultural issues that unfortunately prevent her from doing anything and really like connecting with the fans. I don't know, and I think it's just that they don't really try to produce any content with her at all. It's like,
I've been saying it for months. The NWA Women's Championship is showcased in a better light than the AEW Women's Championship, and that's a damn shame. The highlight moments of the year for the women have all been NWA Women's Championship highlights for me, or women that are in that circle.
And who knows? Now with Impact, maybe the Impact Women's Championship is probably going to get more signed.
Probably. So Hikaru Shida wins, and then at the end of this, we have Nyla Rose come out and beat everybody up. We get Thunder Rosa out to make the save. Britt Baker came out. Rebel, on crutches came out. And this is my thing. Nyla Rose was the one who lost to Ryu. Why didn't she just win if she was going to get in the position to fight Shida anyways? We know why Britt Baker's there. Put herself in the conversation, but essentially Thunder Rosa and her got to have that one-on-one.
Yeah.
So what the fuck was the point of Nyla Rose losing to Rio if by the end of this match, Rio's an afterthought?
That's just to give somebody else a push. To give somebody else a push for once, and have somebody face Shida that Shida hasn't even faced before. Because how many times have Nyla Rose faced Shida?
I think they already fought like once or twice.
Probably, I think it's like twice.
That's what I'm saying. So even to give someone else a chance, but now where's her in this story? Where's her in this positioning?
She's gone. And now we're back. And now we're back in Nyla Rose for a third match because there's nobody else, except for maybe Big Swole.
Meanwhile, we got Britt Baker doing some of her best work. We got Thunder Rosa there doing some of her best work. There's other people that are deserving. I agree. They should give people other chances. And if Nyla wasn't going to win the tournament, then she shouldn't have this opportunity after. So I just don't like the state of the AEW Women's Championship because it's not prestigious right now. You could tell me Shida is the longest reigning champion in AEW, and it doesn't mean anything when...
Like, who is she beating?
Who's she beating, and why are the women with a different title getting better matches than her? So, you know, these are anybody want to argue these send that hate mail to E.A on Twitter, activate him, you know, make sure he gets active with some hate mail. He can answer this shit and maybe he'll relay them to me. And if you
Maybe,
want to argue about it, but
probably.
at the end of the day, I feel like these are very valid points. And we haven't even got to the defense of this pay-per-view that don't let the last 4 minutes ruin the 4 hours. So with that being said, let's move on. We have Miro and
Yo,
Kip
this is a long
Sabian.
ass pay-per-view. I just want to say,
Yeah, it was.
long pay-per-view for no reason.
Listen, and it's not even a joke. By the time I hit the Sting match, which was the co-main event,
Bang.
I was here like head nodding, like trying to stay awake. Like I was like, yo, this is the first time I'm fucking bored watching wrestling. I can watch Shane McMahon's horrible promo for this past Monday night and not be as sleepy as I was during this pay-per-view. Ridiculous. So we got Miro and Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor.
For no reason.
Who cares about this storyline? Who?
Nobody.
So why should I be invested in this match?
It's like horrible.
Like,
I don't know, yo. The whole match was pretty bad. Cause it's like, oh wow, Miro gets knocked out by an orange punch. Really?
and you saw how he sold
Really? I'm supposed to believe that Miro gets knocked out from an orange punch. Like
that. He was
really?
stumbling around. I mean, he didn't lose. Miro
He looks like Shaq when he's trying to fake a foul.
Listen, this whole pairing was stupid. This whole story was stupid. This was another drop in the ball, not knowing when to nip the story in the fucking bud. You have a quarter to build up these pay-per-views, and we're already like 4 matches in, and not one of them did I care about outside of the women's match, which was decent, which was probably the best match of the night. Like
And the messed up thing is that we probably not even done with this storyline either.
we're probably not.
Because
Probably
what's
not.
probably gonna happen is Miro's probably gonna try to chase Kenny, and then I'm guessing maybe Chucky's gonna try to insert him into that too.
I was hoping that Trent Beretta was healed up enough to just make a comeback.
Trent's out.
They could have this full circle shit and really move on from this.
I mean, the way they drag things out is possible.
Yeah, sometimes long
It's possible the way they
storyline
drag
booking
everything out
isn't a good idea. And this is one of those situations. This Miro and Kip Sabian shit, and the best friend shit is trash. Miro hasn't been interesting at all. Kip Sabian is supposed to be the leader of that situation, and he's not interesting at all. Where was all that momentum that Chris Jericho built up for Orange Cassidy? Where it went? Where did it go? Orange Cassidy's still kicking people soft. You're kicking Miro soft and doing that whole gimmick still. Cool. You got to turn up. This was Revolution. This was the pay-per-view. Shit felt like Dynamite,
he
bro.
made me want to fall asleep.
I eventually did fall asleep. I had to fucking watch the rest of this pay-per-view the next day. But we'll get to that point. Miro and Kip Sabian end up winning. Then after we go backstage and we get Chris Jericho, MJF talking about some they're gonna have an inner circle consoles meeting or some shit, war console meeting on Dynamite, and then
they've been watching too much Game of Thrones.
MJF is probably gonna take over the inner circle. They're probably gonna kick Jericho out. So that's where it seems like it's heading. The shit is boring already. One of the best people in the group already left. And then the tag team that should be focused is just in the background, not doing shit.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Terrible.
We got the big
Sure.
money match, Hangman Adam Page versus Big Money Matt Hardy. Decent match. But did I care about it? No. It wasn't like this was another could have been on Dynamite.
And the thing is, like, yo, these stakes is basically like, how can we know? How can we feel these stakes?
We don't. What fan gives a fuck about any of their money? Nothing.
Like what ramifications?
For all we know, Matt Hardy wrote IOU and gave it to Hangman after the match.
Basically,
this had no stakes. This was another one. What is Matt Hardy doing right now? Nothing much. Scrambling to find his gimmick. 1 week he's stealing from the private party. Next week he turns them heel. Then they disappear for a little bit. Then all of a sudden he's trying to recruit Hangman, and that's how it happened. Come on.
What?
This shit is boring. Shit is boring already. Then we didn't even get the actual like Dark Order and Hangman finally,
joining forces.
Yeah, joining forces. The Dark Order guys came out, helped Hangman Page get the win. After Private Party tried to interfere. Just a lot of crap, bro.
And we're just gonna keep on stringing them along.
Then we get to what I was excited for coming into this pay-per-view. What I thought was gonna be one of the better fucking matches. The Face of the Revolution ladder match. Penta, Scorpio Sky, Lance Archer, Cody Rhodes. Who else was in it? The kid from the Acclaim. What's his name?
Max Caster.
And then we had the surprise debut of this big star. And it's Ethan Page. Now, for somebody who's only watching, for somebody who's watching AEW, or the casual fans who only watched WWE, who the fuck is Ethan Page? Are they supposed to know? That shit wasn't, he had no buzz. There were fans there. There was no pop whatsoever. People have to defend the fact that Ethan Page was in that match on the forums. Oh, you guys don't know who Ethan Page is. Of course not. There's no fucking build for him.
Nobody really knows.
Nobody knows him. He's not a major star. Now, you didn't promise a major star in this match, but when you're trying to make big impacts, this is not how you fucking do it. He could have been debuted on Dynamite or Dark for the no pop that he got. Now we get to the actual match, right? You think that this will be a great fucking match. Lance Archer's in here. Destruction. Cody Rhodes, he's always cutting himself. He's always doing the most. He's always going above and beyond. This shit was boring. This had to be the most boring ladder match I ever saw. It was boring.
And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of bad Money in the Bank, ladder matches.
This shit was boring, bro. It took Lance Archer like 3 minutes to get himself out of in between the ladders because he was phoning in, waiting for the spot to happen.
Yo, it did take forever.
It took forever, bro. And then you saw he was out of place, climbing those ladders, waiting for the spots. It was terrible. Pentagon had a little rebound off the rope spot. That's the most memorable thing that happened in the entire match. Nothing was memorable about this match.
Oh, what about the Canadian Destroyer onto the ladder?
Oh, you mean the ladder that was clearly signaled with red markers that it was gonna break? before they even
Yep.
touched it.
Yep.
Unimpressed. Trash. And the fact that you guys can't even fucking disguise this fucking obviously propped ladder is sad. You don't even care about the illusion at this point.
They're like, we just need to go for it means for it ends.
Seriously. That shit was horrible, bro. It was supposed to be a cool spot. I'm here like, why is all that red? Oh, it's gonna snap. Canadian Destroyer. Of course.
And then on top of that, what do you have above the ladder but a brass ring?
Bro, that was a sonic ring. That was those big ones that got you into the chaos zone to search for emeralds and shit.
And
then
not only that, that's basically an allegory for WWE.
It is. Again.
For no reason.
This is the face of the Revolution match. The Revolution was supposed to be AEW being its own company, paving the way, being the alternative, and paving their own way. Why do they look like TNA Light?
Because they are.
Why do they look like Dollar Tree WWE? Come on, man. We can't keep defending this shit. They lost their spark. This year has been so far really lackluster. They have really lost. They're losing me as far as my excitement. They have things that's worth watching and week to week. They do. It's worth watching.
And the sad thing is that they're not gonna lose their core fan base.
Of course not.
Because their core fan base doesn't really care.
Not only that, they don't care. They're just so happy that it's not WWE that they'll deal with the shortcomings. They'll deal with these horrible situations. They're asking bare minimum. They're just asking AEW to exist and to exist on a level that's at least better than Impact. That's all these fans are asking for. You guys want to portray yourselves as the competition to WWE. You guys want to talk about NXT moving to Tuesday and that's they're waving their white flag and all this shit. You guys aren't even close to competition on their worst day. When you're pulling out pay-per-views that are quarterly like this, I've seen WWE scramble pay-per-views together and make it more interesting than this shit, and it had 3 months to build. Face of the Revolution is Scorpio Sky to no fanfare.
I mean,
I'm happy.
I'm glad he got it though.
Him. Huh?
I'm glad he got it though.
No, I'm glad he got it too, because he finally got something to do. He split from SCU months ago for what? To be on Dark doing nothing? And then, now you're grabbing the sonic ring, the brass ring. Vince, we found the brass ring. It's an AEW. They're grabbing it over there. Fucking idiots.
Such good shit though.
Then we move on. And this is what a lot of people are complaining about. This is probably the second most spoke about sore point, which I don't think is even too bad. But I can understand the way they built this shit up. You would think it's a huge, never would have thought of signing. And then it's Christian Cage. Is it a bad choice? No, I love Christian. I always felt he was held back in WWE. It's a damn shame that Vince doesn't respect him on the level of an Edge, because for the most part, I found Christian to be the better part of that tag team. And on the solo front, I found Christian more entertaining in the entirety of his run in comparison. Edge was the star that was kind of forced on us.
He was basically he was written to succeed.
Yeah. Even to this day, it's cool seeing Edge, but it doesn't hit me emotionally. If I saw Christian win the championship at this age, coming back from concussions, it'd mean more to me for sure. Now, the problem with this is not that Christian is not Hall of Fame worthy, not that Christian isn't a big get for them. It's the fact that it's expected. Christian has already made the jump before to TNA, hence Christian Cage, and they use his original TNA music. Like, this is not a surprise. It's like it's 2006 again. It's 2007 again.
All we need is Willow come out.
Really, it's we're starting to see the rehash of TNA. That's basically what's happening here. We're starting to see a rehash of TNA. Christian comes out.
Next thing you know, the Young Bucks is gonna go by Generation Me.
I wouldn't doubt it. Christian comes out, doesn't say anything, opens his shirt, says, "I'll work everybody," signs the paper, and walks back. Christian's gonna speak on this Wednesday's episode of Dynamite. So while I'm happy for Christian, it's cool to see him. It was a lackluster reveal. And that's just facts. It was lackluster. You had people, when you saying it's going to be mind-blowing, it's Hall of Fame worthy, it's this, is that. Yeah, the fans can stretch it to their imagination and put their expectations high. But really, was that going to be a mind-blowing reveal? That's like, oh, Christian's here. That's cool. Not, holy shit, Christian's here. Like, no, nobody did that. Nobody did that.
Bex did that.
Who did that?
Bex did that.
Probably. But then we move on. We finally at this co-main event. And I'm here like, at this point, I'm like, 2 more matches, bro. 2 more matches, then I could sleep. And then the street fight happens. And it's like,
oh man.
The first thing I want to say is, what was the good thing about this match? This was hands down one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Very shot well.
This was one of, shot, camera work, camera cuts, stunt doubles. I'm looking at you, Sting. Look like stunt double to me. Why have Sting come out on Dynamite and take a powerbomb to prove that he could take a hit just to have a cinematic match?
Because it's the legend of Sting.
So this was part 1 of that movie. Because this is what it was.
Basically.
It was a movie.
It's like Ip Man Part 1.
Now, to enjoy it for what it was, to enjoy this for what it was, I could see why people enjoyed it. For the Sting fans, I see why they love the outcome. But for me, someone who's going to be realistic and see why this was a horrible booking decision, I'm going to give it to you straight. You're trying to tell me that 5 people, one who is Brian Cage, 200 fucking pounds, and another who's Will Hobbs, powerhouse Will Hobbs, 300 pounds, behemoths. These guys are giants, bro.
Hook.
You got Hook. You got Ricky Starks. You got Taz. And you're telling me these 5 guys can't take out a 50-something, 60-year-old Sting who has previous spine injuries and small Darby Allin? They've been being booked to look like fools all month. This entire run with Darby Allin. Sting comes out, says nothing, they scatter. All month. The only time they look decent is when they drag Darby Allin in the body bag. That was it.
Yo, they dead ass got buried. I'm gonna say it.
They got.
I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but this is like you can't help to use it. They're getting buried by this. Like, seriously, a 61-year-old man and somebody who's probably like 100 pounds soaking wet. Like, come on.
Just lost to two of the biggest guys in your entire roster in a no disqualification street fight where anything goes. You had a 5-on-2 advantage and you still lost. Who's booking this
And
shit?
and Darby Allin took himself out.
Took himself out, and then Sting won with a scorpion death drop. That's it. So young ass Ricky Stark, who's been on a hot streak, couldn't kick out of that. I would have understood if he put him in the scorpion death lock and made him tap, but that was it. The shit was horrible. The decision making behind this pay-per-view, the decision making behind these results was horrible. And there's no defending that shit. 61-year-old Sting and 100-pound soaking wet Darby Allin just beat two of the biggest men in the entire roster with 3 other people around them too.
I like turtles.
This is crazy.
Yo, what do you
Now
rate this
can we
match?
move on? Now can we
What
finally
do you rate
move
this
on?
match? What do you rate the match?
I don't rate it as a match. This wasn't a match. I don't rate it. It's a movie. This is not a match. Like,
So do you give it 2 thumbs up or 2 thumbs down?
cinematically, I give it 2 thumbs up. The cinematography was great. The action sequences with the flipping off of the wall as a movie, this was great. I would definitely want to see a sequel.
This reminded me of the sequel for that Sting commercial where he beats up the little kid.
This was a revenge like 20 years later.
Yeah.
As a movie, 2 thumbs up. I'd love to see a sequel. As a wrestling match, as something that I have to see booked going forward, as something that was supposed to either push or push down Team Taz and elevate or whatever it was supposed to do for Sting. Sting didn't need to be elevated. Sting didn't need this win. Storyline wise, it would have made more sense for Team Taz to win and Sting picks them off one by one. That's it. Let's move on. Now to the reason why people think that everybody's bitching. And I hope that whoever's listening actually thought about what I said and realized this pay-per-view was a lot trasher than just the last 4 minutes. So John Moxley versus Kenny Omega. What can I say about this match? It's bloody. And it was
violent.
Boring. It was bloody, violent, and bloody boring.
On some real shit, as somebody who watches death matches, I was like, yo, this is probably the most tamest death match I've ever seen in my whole life.
It wasn't a death match. It wasn't a death match.
It was like a parody of death matches. That's how I felt about this. I felt like, they wanted to go over the top and everything by using these explosions and everything, but the explosions never really popped out like that, like they used to in All Japan or Big Japan or any of them. Huh?
You mean the firecrackers?
Yeah, it didn't translate well as they do in like Big Japan or All Japan, or any other death match promotion or anything. Like, they only use barbed wire, and it's like, yo, death match, they use basically everything. And
thumbtacks.
We're talking about meat cleavers, pigeon spikes, needles.
We don't need to even get to the meat cleaver.
So like glass, they'll all types of shit. And it's like, this was like really tame. It was like, okay, you guys are overusing barbed wire because they can't think of anything else to use or something. And it's like, okay, and it's like, you guys didn't even bring out tables or anything, no ladders.
Candlestick.
no kendo sticks, no. I mean, they did bring
they didn't even
they
go
did.
around the arena.
I mean, they didn't even bring out the barbed wire broom. So
I mean, they had this barbed wire, I think, baseball bat with the firecracker inside it. That was probably the only cool effect.
and the barbed wire tape chair, but it was relatively lame, and basically, of course, they had to have the Good Brothers interfere and cost Moxley the match. So,
Which makes it even like it makes it even worse. Like this was a death match, 1-on-1, straight up, and we still got the fuck finish.
yeah.
Then let's talk about after. So this whole match had a countdown. Outside of the explosions and the little things around, well, let me take that back. Outside of the firecracker pops and the little things that Kenny Omega put around the ring, the barbed wire, there was a countdown for the entire match. So Kenny ends up winning with the help of the Good Brothers, and as a handcuffing Mox, they beat him up, leave him in the ring with the counting down. So this was supposed to be a giant explosion. The ring was supposed to blow up with Mox inside. And while we didn't expect that to really happen, we at least expected some smoke, some real looking flames, and some real looking pyrotechnics. This shit went off like two sparklers. This shit went off like Gilbert making his entrance. And while pyrotechnic mishaps happen, and it's happened in WWE, it's happened in past history, and that's acceptable. What's not acceptable? How the fuck are you gonna sell this shit? John Moxley and Eddie Kingston sold this shit like it knocked them the fuck out.
Well, I'm pretty sure they had their eyes closed because they didn't want to see their smoke or chemicals or anything, and they probably didn't get to see the extent of the bullshit that was going on.
No. They saw the extent. They knew because right after they went off air, the behind the scenes, John Moxley cut a promo. He said, "Damn, Kenny Omega can't make a ring explode worth of shit."
Yeah, because after a while, it's like, okay, what the fuck? What happened?
And while Moxley's cutting that promo, guess who's still selling it?
Eddie Kingston, because he's Eddie Kingston.
I admire his dedication.
He just wants to lay down. That's it. He just wants to lay down.
Listen, I admire his dedication to the gimmick, but this was a steaming pile of hot garbage.
He wasn't gonna break kayfabe.
This was a steaming pile of hot garbage, bro. There's no defending this shit.
You bring kayfabe.
There's no defending this shit. This pay-per-view got on its truth. So I couldn't even rate most matches. This match to me was a 4, maybe 5.
It was nothing but garbage.
It was nothing but garbage, Guyana. Nothing but garbage. If they walk away with their life after this, they're going to be known as Lucky Tito's. That's what they're going to call them, Lucky Tito's. Because this was nothing but garbage, Guyana. Trash. This was AEW's worst pay-per-view in their existence so far. And I stand by that.
Yeah.
What do you rate this pay-per-view?
I rated it like a 3.
I don't blame you, brother. I do not blame you. It wasn't a lot of memorable moments. It wasn't a lot of things that were actually surprising. They built this like it was the second coming of wrestling, and this great pay-per-view to start off, cap of the year, the greatest event of the year. I'm like,
no, it wasn't.
The best pay-per-view so far this year. What? So we didn't watch the Royal Rumble? That didn't happen? Because that was way better than this shit. And WWE ain't perfect. So people who automatically have that mindset, oh, he's shitting on AEW. He's a WWE mark. No, motherfucker. It's called being able to criticize both sides. To know when to uplift the good shit and know when to really bring like the bad shit. And honestly, I stopped and we had a day and a half to talk about this pay-per-view, to think about this pay-per-view. There are no redeeming qualities outside Rio's match, and it was just the match, not even the outcome.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
just like
the movie.
this whole thing was like pretty much boring. It's like, you know, they basically ran out of ideas to do, and now we're seeing all this garbage that, you know, they can't produce because nobody knows how to get over on them damn selves.
And the thing is, when I think about this pay-per-view, now I'm thinking about a quote that Bully Ray posted right after this pay-per-view went off the air, and it's a quote from Vince McMahon. The only thing they're gonna remember is the finish. And for a lot of people, this finish is gonna be this is like Shockmaster levels of garbage. This finish. So I got nothing else to say. Like we held off. I was trying to find, you know, the positive of this event. I really couldn't. I fell asleep. Once it hit the Sting match, I was midway through that match. I was like, I can't take it no more. I went to
No,
bed. And I've never, ever done that for a wrestling event ever in my life. I won't say this is the worst shit I've ever seen, period. I won't take it that far. But this was up there. It was so boring. Even the shit shows, I can find something entertaining about. This was boring.
it's just showing that AEW just become an Impact. So
And I hate Impact. I really do. If there's one thing y'all want to knock on me, I do not like Impact. I do not want to watch it. I don't give a fuck how many times Kenny Omega crosses over. I'll catch the highlights. I'm not watching Impact. It's garbage. And the fact that so much of that influence is taking over AEW, nothing but garbage, Guyana. But before we sign off, that was the Revolution review. Let's give the little highlight of tonight's AEW Dark for this Tuesday. We had the Varsity Blondes defeating Ryzen and Cameron Stewart. We
good
had
job for them.
Santana and Ortiz defeating Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss.
I wonder where they're at that in the rankings now because of that win.
I'll check the rankings if you
No,
want.
they show up in the morning.
In the morning. All right, so when we get to our Dynamite review, look out for that. We'll definitely add the ranking system chat about that tomorrow. So we had Santana Ortiz defeating Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. We had Kip Sabian defeating Carly Bravo. We had QT Marshall.
That's Sean Bean's tax partner.
Okay. We had QT Marshall defeating Fuego del Sol, which is absolute fucking bullshit. What was the point of this whole story?
Bad booking.
What was the point? Poor Fuego, man.
Bad booking.
Diamante defeats Savannah Thorne, which was actually a decent match. Savannah needs a little bit of work. But
that's MJF's press secretary.
Yeah, you caught that mid-match. I didn't catch that connection. We had Lee Johnson defeating Baron Black, obviously.
Your favorite wrestler.
We had Powerhouse Will Hobbs defeating Angel Fashion. Shout out to my Puerto Rican people. SCU defeats Azrael and Danny Limelight. And we got Abaddon defeating Catalina Perez. The Dark Order defeats Aaron Fry, D3, John Cruz, Varley Morales. And we get the Pretty Picture and Ryan Namath defeating Aaron Solo, Brick Aldridge, and Dean Alexander.
Which are our Nightmare Factory graduates, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they were the jobbers that weren't good enough for an entrance.
Good for them.
They were just
at least they're getting some type of exposure.
Yeah, at least that. So with that being said, those were the dark results for Tuesday. We didn't want to be negative Nancy's about this whole show, but sometimes you just gotta set it and call it like it is. A lot of people on these forums are defending this Revolution pay-per-view, And I'm sorry, but I will not accept this level of boredom. They have another quarter to get it right. We have the flagship show. JR said Double or Nothing is their flagship show. If that shit doesn't show improve, I feel bad for them going forward. With that being said, we could do this all day.
It's not even gonna be at the MGM Grand anyway either.
Yeah, it's in
So
Jacksonville.
it's gonna have another Dynamite feel pay-per-view.
They need to get the fuck out that arena ASAP. With that being said, we could do this all day. Focus. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Chenchi_Muyo. Send all your hate mail to EA, and that's E.A on Twitter.
Yeah, so all the hate mail goes to him. You want to argue, send it to him. Since he's not showing up, he can deal with the mail for this week. With that being said, you can find us collectively at Kayfabe Avenue on Instagram, on Twitter, on the Facebook. Join the conversation. Like, share, subscribe to our YouTube. Speaking of subscribing, click on that support link on Anchor, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to us. We're on all streaming podcast providers. So, donate, keep the lights on, keep the Kayfabe Avenue train going. With that being said, that was Kayfabe Focus. I have been Kayfabe AJ. This has been Kayfabe Bav. This was the AEW Revolution 2021 review and the AEW Dark results for this week. Kenny, Jesus Christ, please stop looking this way. Tell somebody back there. This shit was horrible. Kenny Olivier, Twinkle Toes, Mick Finger Bang, take us home.
Bye and good